the path of getting there, and that your feet are solid. You follow what I'm saying? And then once our feet are solid on the path, then we can bring people over to the path and say, well, I've been standing here, come stand here with me. That's the reality. And that's when in the lecture I went to the science of non-movement. We think that the world change becomes a movement. We play off of these things, unity and having a black power movement. But if you look at the word movement, we need some stillness. Because we've been moving in all the wrong places. We've been moving our dollars, circulating in the right man's economy, right? We've been moving in and out of these devil's wicked places. We've been moving in and out of these environments and moving the devil's world. We have been the movers of it, right? So we don't need another black movement. We got too much black movement. That's the problem. And everybody's capitalizing off our black movement. Now it's time for some black stillness. You follow? Well, we still and solid, and nobody's capitalizing off what we're doing but us. Nobody's benefiting from us but us. That's a fact. All of our movements, everybody making money. You have a Million Man March, somebody makes money, right? The plane makes money. The hotels makes money. The restaurant makes money. How much money did our community make? So our movement, and even our movements, are not guaranteeing nobody nothing. Ain't nobody getting nothing out of that but the European. They capitalizing off our movement. So now we need some stillness with integrity. We need some stillness that cannot be moved. Because that's the problem. Their commercials, their advertisement, every part of their world has moved us. Their stimulants have moved us. Their drugs have moved us. Am I correct? Every time we turn on the TV, we're moved by BET. Their radio is moving us. Their world is still moving us. We don't need no more black movement. We need black stillness. We need a cannot be moved spirit by that which is not in our best benefit. That's a state where that which does not completely elevate us cannot move us. We cannot move. We cannot be moved by anything that's not moving us towards the progressive direction that we want to be on. So that's a fact. It's going to take some stillness, and it's going to take some serious solidarity. We got to change our diet. And a lot of people, when they look at changing a diet, they look at eating something differently. No, changing your diet means not eating something. That's a fact. Because they still thinking movement. I'll just eat a whole bunch of something else that I'm supposed to be eating. No, you're going to have to stop eating. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Yes. Changing your diet don't mean eating something different. It means not eating. You got to stop eating. Go days and hours. But it's this whole concept that we have of change with movement. But we moved into a whole bunch of negative things. That's what we've been doing all our lives. Moving into something we had no business moving into. Moving on something we had no business moving on. Because we didn't know how to keep still. Now, it's time for stillness. What we was moving to eat, they'll be fasting. What we was moving to do this, that, and the other, we need to sit still. We can't stay nowhere. That's why there's gentrification. They're moving us in and out of whatever community they want us in. We can't be still nowhere. They create something else, some new event, some new thing to market us, to have us, okay, the game is going on now. Okay, the Taste of Chicago now. Okay, now it's this, let's move on this. They got us moving. Barack Obama is running for office. Let's move on that. Not standing for absolutely nothing. No principle, no integrity. Ready to just jump on the black movement and just move with anything that's going on. That needs to change. Because what represents the change of our people is not always going to be popular. That which looks still, in 10 years, will become the only thing moving. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because it's subtle. While everything was moving around and exhausting and its energy was dying out, something was just subtly moving. And 10 years from now, it's that elephant in the room. Y'all hear what I'm saying? You can't move around it. It's so big, you ain't got nowhere to move. And that's what we're doing, being consistent. So it's not about the amount of people that's following what we're doing or people looking for something to move on. It's about those who can be a solid representation. Because we can't leave our children the idea of a movement from the 60s or the idea of a movement from 2010. You follow? We need more than a movement. We need to leave them a structure, an institution. We need to leave them a foundation, a state of being that they can get geared into and have all the armory and weaponry that they need from this devil's world. Am I correct? So we don't need no more. Movements come and go. Movements come and go. For people looking for a movement, this is the wrong thing. This is something solid to plant your feet. This is solid ground to stand on. So now, in order for people to be solid, there must be something to test their solidity. People want to go where it's what they agree with. Everything that's going on is what they agree with and what they want to do. Well, where's the challenge at? Where's the challenge at? If you going and all you are required to do is what you want to do, where's the challenge? That's why people pick out what pastor they want. They pick out what church they want, what organization. If you find out why they agree with people, you'll find out their agreement is based on those who challenge them less. How can you grow if you're not challenged? If people just saying whatever the hell you want to hear. Okay, you sell crack. Okay, sell crack for black power. You follow? You drink alcohol for the revolution. And these people don't get with these things because it doesn't challenge them to do something different. Well, what we're doing is we'll challenge people to do something different. We'll challenge people. While we will not use people's mistakes and mishaps against them to degrade them and bring them down. You follow what I'm saying? We will challenge them to do something differently. Not just say what they want to hear, because what you want to hear will get you, this will destroy you. You eating pork chop after pork chop with worm after worm, and people telling you, well, just, it ain't gonna bother you. Just pray that food off. Because they want to be your friend, right? They want you to accept them. They don't want you to make you mad and be your enemy. We gonna tell you, put that damn pork chop down, man. You don't need to be eating that. Now, if you eat that after that, don't say we didn't warn you and we didn't tell you. That's a pretty grim idea, isn't it? To come and tell somebody about their diet and changes that they're going to have to make. Well, that's what we're on here. We're on making personal changes that reflect the growth of the collective. That's a fact. Some people smoking weed. They don't want to hear it. Bob Marley smoked weed. Where's Bob Marley at now? What did Bob Marley die of? Cancer, right? Come on now. Let's keep it real now. We keep it real here. They don't want to hear that. They want us to say, well, you can smoke weed, it's spiritual. It's not going to do nothing with you. But everybody I met in my hood from personal experience, I didn't have to go all the way to Jamaica. They was smoking weed. They was lazy as hell. Am I right? Huh? They didn't want to do a damn thing. And if they could do something, it'd be that one thing that they was high enough to stay focused on to get that thing accomplished. Am I right? That's if it's one task-orientated mission and they can just stay focused on that, they high enough to do that one detailed task. But try to multitask, it's going down. I'm just keeping it real with you. They gave us the weed and marijuana and drugs to destroy our ambition. Everybody that smoke weed, they're happy, everything's irie, everything's peaceful. Put some music on, ain't nothing going on, ain't no drive-by shootings, ain't no police brutality, nothing's happened, everything's peaceful. That's not the way the world is. We have to have our heart open, not find escapisms through drugs and alcohol. We must have our heart open to feel the pains of the world. Because when we feel the pains of the world, that drives real human beings to compassion. If you have a drug or an artificial substance to turn you off from the reality of the world, how can you have true compassion? You smoke 9 blunts, you might see somebody get shot in the head 9 times. It won't mean nothing to you. Because you're in a transcendental state beyond the real world. But if you're going to be effective here in the real world, where are you going to have to live at? In the real world. Where are you going to have to be situated at? You're going to really have to be moved. You follow? You're going to have to be moved. And you're going to have to grasp your emotions in a way where they don't drive you mad, but they're not so suppressed that you cannot be effective in the world of human affairs. Do you see what I'm saying? People smoking weed, they don't know how to deal with their emotions inside of themselves. They don't know how to deal with it, so they smoke weed to create an altered state of consciousness. Face it. And you'll find a real and stronger human being. They knew by putting drugs in our community that it would make us passive. And that we would achieve a level of satisfaction that's not consistent with what's going on in our community. If you can be in a state of satisfaction and ease with what's going on in our community today, there's something wrong with you. If you can walk around and look at all of that and not be moved to create some change, it takes some very strong narcotics to do that. It's going to take a very strong drug or opium to turn you off to that. That's a fact. And other people who have not found it with drugs have found it with Jesus. Huh? Jesus Christ have turned them off to reality. I just put it in the hands of the Lord, in the hands of Jesus. And that's convenient. Because when they say I'm behind in my rent, you say, well, why don't you put that in the hands of Jesus? They say, no, I got to pay my rent. Well, why don't you take that same proactive mentality and use that to transform your community? Since you know you're responsible here, are you not responsible over there? You live in the community. But when it's something that you think is bigger than your responsibility, and your responsibility is relative to how you see yourself. If you see yourself as something very small, then how big is your responsibility? If you see yourself as something big and divine, then how big do you going to see your responsibility? That's a fact. So when they see themselves as something big and take on bigger responsibilities, they say, you know what? My community is in my hands. It's not in the hands of a mystery God. It's my responsibility to get to a level. And I'm not talking about run out there and be a suicidal hero or kamikaze. But I'm talking about perfecting yourself to get to a real spirit, mental, physical, and spiritual level to be an effective part of the change. And even if you don't know that right now, if that is your process, you will get there. As any man has mastered anything, so can anything be mastered. And am I correct? If they have mastered social science, if they have mastered wiretapping and eavesdropping and war tactics and military strategies in order to maintain their government, what can we not master? We just have to put ourselves to the task. We have to begin to